Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mikey GBG, and welcome back to another video. Today in this video, this is a long-awaited video. I've been putting it off for some time now, and now I decided that I need to do this tonight. So, anyway, we're gonna talk about what has been happening this week. Okay. All right. So first of all, we're gonna have to go back to like last week. I think it was. Yeah. So last week on Wednesday, the day before my pod was gonna go the dragons, okay, and the pirates. We're gonna be going to the escape room and a pod. It's like this section that's like kind of cornered off. There's like 4 of them in on each floor. Basically, there's like every classroom that you basically need in there except your extracurricular stuff that you gotta go to freaking everywhere else that's like really far away, like gym and art. They're like all the way on the opposite end of the hallway and then down the stairs. Anyway, so they were gonna be going to the escape room, but I already lost my tickets because, as you know, I got suspended. Me and the kid, okay, Anthony. Anyway, me and Anthony are cool now. But anyway, so me and Anthony weren't gonna be in the escape room because we got suspended, for hitting each other. You guys know that, sorry. Anyway, so we weren't gonna be there. But anyway, they were making their groups for the escape room when me and Anthony were put into our science teacher's room where basically there was our gym teacher, Mr. W, that eventually went in there and was basically like, so basically what happened was that you had the one girl, Bella, that was, she was, what was it, she was complaining about how our science teacher, like, everybody was like cussing out our science teacher to his face. It was like, and he didn't really, like, he was just like pushing out like, yeah, that's great, yeah. Anyway, and then there was who, if you go to our school, you would know that Mo's like this tough guy kind of character, this kind of guy. He's like swears a lot and calls our math teacher Danielle and a bunch of other stuff, and nobody really cares. But anyway, like what one time he came into our class and he was like Danielle, and then he's like, oh, she's not in here. So then he walks out, all right. And then there's I'm gonna call her Miss M. She's like an intervention specialist that hangs out in the pod. Uh, but anyway, so Mo likes to come into our periods, and anyway, he went in there, and he was like, and then later on he was like Danielle, and then Miss M was like, settle down, Mo, and then he's like, shut up, Mary. What was it? Oh, shut up, Mary Kay. I'm talking to Danielle, and then and then he's like, Danielle, like a freaking mouse in a pipe. I couldn't find you anywhere. And basically went on like that. Anyway, Mo basically can do whatever he wants. Everybody likes him. Anyway, so when we were in that room with Mo, as Mr. W calls Sinclair, because he looks like Baby Sinclair from the show from like the 90s, Dinosaurs. It was like a kid's show. Anyway, so and then there was Bella, me, Nora, who's a girl, but she wasn't really doing anything. She was just sitting there. And then there was a bunch of other people in there. There was also Alex T, um, and Sinclair and Mo and all us, right? Anyway, me and Anthony. Anyway, so what happened was that Mr. W comes in, and basically everybody's asking why they got suspended, and basically that whole time that everybody else was out in the pod, out in the common area in the pod, uh, finding groups, we were in this room in the science room with the door shut, and basically everybody was cussing out the teachers, and the teachers were talking, our science teacher and Mr. W was like, you know, and oh, and then so this is dragging on for a long time. Anyway, so what happened was that um, oh, so uh, oh, Mr. W started talking about how uh, uh, oh, that's it. Sinclair and Hayden, who's a girl, or were going at it, yelling at each other, and she called him a wuss or something like that, or called him something about his weight or something, and then Sinclair responded with you shut up, you retard, or something like that, right? And then so then Mr. W's like, okay, you guys are both getting detentions, all right? And then afterwards, Alex T's like, yeah, Brian. He's like, and that's Mr. W's first name, right? And he's like, okay, that's a detention. And so that basically happened. Anyway, so next, okay. Oh, also, the day after that, which was Thursday, everybody else was going to the escape room. I took that day off because I didn't feel like sitting in a room doing work. And then, the day... Oh, wait. Oh, and then, but on Wednesday night, on ABC, they had the reenactment of All in the Family and the Jeffersons, starring famous people like Woody Harrelson, Marissa Tomei, Ike Barinholtz, that redhead secretary from the Office, not Pam, the other one, and multiple other ones. Hmm. What?
No, nothing.
What?
Are you recording?
Yes, not.
Okay, don't talk to me.
Anyway, so, but it was really bad because they made it politically correct and all that, and like bleeped out the N-word and all this stuff. So it was really, really bad, okay? Anyway, so, oh, and then also Jamie Foxx was in it, you know, and a bunch of others. Anyway, so after that, Thursday was my day off. Okay, we need to get going here. Alright, and then next, nothing really happens until a couple days ago, when, okay, today is Thursday, okay? But anyway, but then a couple days ago, they had these three guys come in to talk to us up on stage about some stuff, about troubling times or something like that. Anyway, that basically it was kind of weird. Okay, so they had this, like, two of the students were from this city, from the high school, so that's great. And then there was like this giant screen up in the back, and which was projected on picture of the three guys sitting there with like glasses and like snowcaps and like all this stuff, like doing gang symbols and stuff, and it says deja vu on it. Anyway, they talked to us about how they all went through some troubles in their life. One of them almost got killed. One of them has diabetes. Another one met a girl with cancer. Anything. Anyway, So basically, and then after that, you find out that they did it in this weird way where one of them would come out and tell his story about how he was gonna go to Ohio State University as a professional soccer player, and then he says at the end, and then I quit. And then he walks off stage. Then the next guy comes out, tells his story about how he almost became a soccer player. Then he says, and then I quit. Then walks off stage. Then my favorite guy, alright, this is a little heavier built guy comes out. Alright, these are all like 18, 19-year-olds, right? Anyway, this guy comes out, right? And he's a magician, but he also is with these guys. And then he talks about how and then the other two guys come out, and then they basically talk about how they quit. They're moving on to join with each other to make money off from talking to minors about their troubles, I guess. Like, okay. So, and I was kind of like, okay, really? They gave up their their scholarships, okay, to talk to kids like us about. I don't remember what the purpose was. Anyway, next after that, the heavier build guy, who's a magician, comes out during lunch. Okay, and this is some trippy stuff here. Okay, so basically he started doing magic tricks, and he takes out the he has a deck of cards, right? And at first he's like talking about reds and blues and how the one girl walked up on stage when he was younger, and while he was doing a magic trick, and she said, "Oh, I don't like red cards, I like blue cards," right? And he's like, "That's why I always ask people." And then he says, "Anyway, so we're gonna start with red cards, and then if you want, we'll switch to blue cards, right?" Which ended up like really trippy stuff happened. Okay, so what happened was that he took the red cards, right, and he took this card, and he picked the girl, right, and he started shuffling them down, right, and then he says, "When you want me to stop, say stop," right, and she says stop, and it was like two of diamonds, right, or something. Anyway, so then you find out that and he puts it back in the deck, right, and he shuffles it up, right, and then he picks the card, and then he picks up the card, and the card is blue, okay, and then or no. And then he shuffles around, and then you find out that the whole deck of cards that was just red is blue, right? And then he starts shuffling through it, and we're like, wait, what's that red card there? He picks it out, it's two of diamonds, right? But wait a minute, he slams it down on the table, and it turns blue. And we're like, what the hell? What just happened? And then, that was some witchcraft stuff right there. Anyway, and then after that happened, he did another trick. So what he did was that everybody in the cafeteria was gathering around to see this. Anyway, what he did was that he takes the one girl Paige's phone, right, and he does something on the camera that we don't see, or something like, or on the calculator or something like that we don't see, right? He gives it back to her. Then he takes a chip bag from someone, and he writes a random like 6-digit number on it, right? Puts it down on the table, takes someone's book, and holds it down on it, and then sets it down on it. And then, after that, he says, "Alright, Paige, I want you to type in three random numbers," right? So she types in 3 numbers. And then he says, "Now hit the multiply sign." So she hits the times sign. And then he says, "Now type in 3 more random numbers." This is on the calculator. And so she does. And then he says, "Now hit equals." And then she hits enter. And it brings out this 6-digit number. He takes the chip bag and shows everybody it's the 6-digit number that was on the chip, that he wrote on the chip bag. Okay? And it was like, what just happened? Okay? And he's like, "Alright, now screenshot." And then, and then you find out that it was on the chip bag. That was trippy stuff happened, okay? Anyway, final topic. Today, okay, so basically what happened today, today is the second last day of school of 8th grade, and basically we will be going on to the high school after this summer. And what happened today? Okay, so basically it was raining at first this morning, like really hard, so we ended up going into the auditorium for to like take like group pictures or something like that. And then after that we went into like the theater in our school to go, or we went to the gym, and then we went to the auditorium, which is like a theater. And basically we watched a bunch of people who entered this thing called Minute to Win It, which is basically where they would have to participate if their ticket was drawn in randomly. They would be the person who goes up, and then they draw a bunch of random tickets, and then those people go up, and in groups, and then they try to do the games, right? And like the thing was, like the team that had the most points got to go to lunch first or whatever. Anyway, so then we found out like an hour later or something like that. This was a long show, okay? We sat there watching, you know, you had Jaden, who was, they did this thing where they tied a bowling pin to your crotch, and you had to like hump the ball to try to get it across. And then they had like where they had the girls who had these tissue boxes on their back, and this, we were looking up on the stage, right? This was all happening on stage. But anyway, they had these girls with these tissue boxes with these like ping pong balls in there, and basically they also had the guys do it too. But they had to like twerk and stuff and like shake and stuff like that to get the balls out of the tissue box, right? Anyway, that's just a couple of the things they did. But then after that, we went outside and we did like stations at like games and stuff like that. And then after we did that, but before that, we went into the gym where they had an obstacle course and all that. But then we went outside and did that stations thing, and a field day was today, right? And then after that, we went back inside, and basically we went to 8th period. And then after that, we went to 9th period, where we basically had a choice of which room we wanted to go in, where one room was showing High School Musical 3. Another room was doing Kahoot, you know, and then another room was doing Apples to Apples or something like that. And so that happened. I went into the High School Musical 3 room like all the other guys did. That was interesting. I was asking questions during the thing of things that like that nobody else in the room was asking, like where is her father when her boyfriend is in the room? Nobody asked that. Yeah, where is Gabriella's father when her boyfriend's in the room, in her bedroom? Or what was the other thing? Just a bunch of random questions. But anyway, that's the end of this video today. So if you liked it, please hit the like button. As always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.